All right, we'll try this. We shall try this. Oh, it says my signal is low. TK, what's up? How is everyone doing? All one of you. Jim Jarena is number 2. What a day, what a day, what a day. Jason Perry, Speedy 9. Nittany Lion, it's me, Gary. You're almost in bed? How are you almost in bed? Let's get a bottle of water here. Okay, so I saw the funniest thing. Yeah, I'm in a truck. Mention that. I saw the funniest thing. Harold and I saw the funniest thing. We were coming through Indy. He was getting ready to get on 70, right? Little Viking coach. And one of these guys in those ninja motorcycles that like to do 130 down the outside lane. Well, this guy was coming up fast, and I get on the CB because Harold was running me. I go, check out this dude to the left, right? And he's sitting there, right? And he goes flying past us like I knew he would. All of a sudden, I see brake lights everywhere, right? And stuff flying out. And Harold told me, he goes, he just lost everything in his backpack. His lunch meat, his clothes, his jacket, everything. So he's doing 120 miles an hour. His backpack opens like a parachute. And there's like stuff everywhere. I'm still giggling about it because it was hilarious. It was like, there you go, man, there you go. Cars are scrambling not to run over this crap. It was funny. And so, guess who we saw on the left-hand shoulder checking his backpack? Mr. Motorcycle Guy. That was probably the funniest thing I've seen in quite a while. Tonight's live feed is brought to you by Ozarka Water. It's not made in the Ozarks. It's made in Texas. So, but yeah, it was fun hanging out with Harold all day. And as you guys saw from the live feed earlier, zippers, they work. Maybe they only work if you're doing less than 120 miles an hour. So, gear grabber sitting in the dock. I'm not sitting in the dock. I'm in a rest area. My delivery's not until tomorrow night. But I wanted to get as far as I could today. Jared, what's up? So, probably won't find anything till Monday morning. Only if you use them. Yeah, only if you use them. Gonna take tomorrow off. Today was an easy ride, man. We didn't have any traffic jams. St. Louis went smooth. Indy went smooth. You're at the TA on 10 west of Houston. Wish my week was almost over. My week's kind of just begun in a way because I got to be home by Thursday next week. So that's why I'm staying out this weekend. And I got a late start on the week anyways. I'm 30 miles from the house. Well, I don't blame you, gear grabber. I don't blame you at all. You know, a friend of mine and I were just talking about how good the rates are in Michigan and how there's like more freight than you would think. As you and Jeff are evidence of that. Pale Rider TV, what's up? I hope you're feeling better, my friend. If you guys didn't know, I uploaded a video. It's a short 1.5-minute video starring Pale Rider himself. You gotta look. I should have done a screenshot and froze that moment in time when I passed Pale Rider on the interstate. But what happens is, see, I'm a genius, see? You have to watch the video twice to figure out where Pale Rider's at. And that's more money, more monetization. You came through Indy 2 hours ago, smooth sailing. So did we, Nittany Lion. We probably crossed paths. I went up 69 and Harold went down 70. And the CBers said that it was better to go around than go through the middle because of something that was going on near the stadium, although Google didn't show anything. So I see that Roscoe finally got loaded too. I think Coltrane will do well here in Michigan too. You better watch out, you'll get YouTube rabies again with all these shirt feeds. Huh? What are you talking about, Benjamin? I just got off the phone with a friend of mine that's over at Snyder. And guess what, man? He's doing well at Snyder. Snyder's really kind of going after the spot market guys. All the guys that left Snyder and went to spot market, their new commercial is targeting those dudes. Paris, Texas, Kimberly-Clark, or Campbell's. I have been to neither. I have been to neither. I think a friend of mine, though, picked up in Paris. He picked up a Kimberly-Clark, and he said it was an easy run, easy gig. Yeah, Gear Grabber, it's like, I think part of the ad says, drivers, is the spot market not what it was, cracked up to be? And see, and they know that the rates aren't as high as they were last summer. They know that. And they know that a lot of guys left Snyder to go to these self-dispatch companies, and they're struggling because, guess what? Snyder made it easy to point and click and plan your day, but the spot market's not that easy. Because you're having to deal with load planning and calling the brokers and deal with nothing but live loads and live unloads. And if you got a $1,000 a week truck note, that's kind of a challenge. I'm not bashing Snyder, but but they know that their program's easy, and that's what they're trying to market, to the point that now they're accepting older trucks. And that collision mitigation thing's been like shoved like a few years from now. So I imagine someone got fired over that one. I agree, Gear Grabber. The mega carrier consistency is nice when rates hit a low bottom. So, to the point that if you have to run more miles with consistent money, you're better off. But even at the bottom, like I have yet to do a load as low as some of the rates that I did at Snyder. Even after a bunch of deadhead miles and time lost, I still do better rate per mile. Now, I've got a friend of mine that said he's made close to $1,000 a day on some of the loads that Snyder has. And so I feel that a lot of the guys that are complaining at Snyder is because they're doing something a little bit different. They could be doing a little bit better, or they still need to learn the system. So therefore, if you don't book far enough ahead, you're only going to see the $1.20 a mile stuff. You're only going to see $1.10 a mile stuff because all the good stuff has already been taken. So you got to be quick. You got to know how to schedule your stuff. Here, the rate, like, for example, the load that Roscoe's doing, it took them all day to load them, but the rate is so good that it's not hurting them at all. Does Snyder have more drop and hook? Jim, when I was over at Snyder, it was about 75% for me, drop and hook. And that's how you get the consistency, So, yeah. So yes, there's a lot of drop and hook at Snyder. But I am happy here in the spot market. Once you get to learning it, it's pretty good. And if you live in a good Uber area, you can just run Uber Freight and still do pretty good. And I'll tell you what, running Uber Freight's a lot easier than running the Schneider board because you didn't even have to do check calls. You just send the bills at the end of the load and you're done. Thank you, Nittany Lion. Let's see here. Supply and demand. The lease on or dropping the mega carrier like a hot rock. They now need those lease drivers. Someone has to pay for all those trucks they bought to sell the lease on. I'm hauling Walmart at the moment, and they sure can waste a day. I have yet to be at a Walmart for more than an hour and a half, 2 hours. Hell, the load I delivered in Clarksville was a Walmart load. And I went in, dropped my trailer in the door, parked in the bobtail area, walked in, came out, was dealing with some paperwork. I was doing the mileages or whatever. And I looked and I could see the trailer had a green light, right? It never went red. And then like within 15 minutes, I got a phone call. Hey, your trailer's done. I'm like, really? Of course, I only had 7 pallets on that load. A lot of it depends on your product. You know, if you pull stuff from, like, say, Reckitt Benckiser or Unilever or, say, Kraft, you know, something that has multiple, like, you could have 20 different things. Then that's where counting comes in. It might take them only an hour to unload you, but it might take 2 hours to count. You know, when I used to do a lot of Reckitt Benckiser stuff, it was always like that. Always. Because you might have 2 pallets of Lysol, then a pallet of mustard, and then another pallet of soap, you know, and then 2 pallets of French onions, you know. You know, and they have to count and do all the barcodes and all that stuff. You know, it's like they complicate the system. So sometimes that could take a long time. I have averaged $1.80 running Texas a few times. That's not leaving Texas all week. Jason Perry. Yeah, Texas to Texas is pretty good. You waited 3 hours on both ends today? That sucks. Hey, Sean, what's up? Sean Price is in the house. But no, I'm... You know, once you get a hang of the new system, it's not bad at all. I mean, Harold and Roscoe, as much crap as I'm giving them about hauling plants, these loads that they're doing are paying tremendously well. I mean, tremendously well. And then Harold hit a home run with the load he did before the load he's on now. He was paid tremendously well. So just in the 2 loads that Harold's doing this week, he's making a lot of money. And, you know, so when there's a lot of money involved, now you don't mind a 4-hour load time. Now you don't mind a couple extra stops. See, part of the thing with making money, especially in trucking, is you got to do the stuff that no one else wants to do. There's not a whole lot of drivers that want to do plant loads, right? There's not a whole lot of drivers that want to do multiple stops. So that's where the money is. If you see a load that's paying ridiculously high on any load board, whether it be Schneider or Spot Market, there is a reason. It either needs to be there right now, or there's a bunch of stops on it, or it's a product that may or may not put your trailer out of commission for a day until you get it washed out. So, or it might be a deal like what CPAP dealt with, where, you know, he's dropping his trailer for, you know, a couple of days. So whenever you see a high rate, there's usually a reason. So Right. That's why freight pays better in the Northeast than it does, say, in the Southwest. They pay well, but I despise multi-loads, LOL. I hear you, Gear Grabber. I think there was a time where I did 8 stops, I think, of fireworks in Montana. That was a cool adventure, but man, it was partially a pain in the butt, but then like there was 3 stops where we just backed the trucks up to each other at the truck stop. And that was kind of nice. I go and get a cup of coffee and boom, I had my load delivered, or my stop delivered. So, Rizzo. I wouldn't know anything about that. But if you do that, you got to make sure you keep the reefer trailer on. That way they get cool air. There was that one guy that was busted at Walmart. They found a couple people dead in his trailer, and he had a reefer trailer. It's like, you couldn't keep the reefer on at like 70 degrees, keep them all nice and good. Gear Grabber. Leave them to Roscoe and Harold, right? I don't mind 2 or 3 stops, but yeah, 8, that's a different story. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, don't need to do it. Pays out a life sentence in prison also, yep. Brent, Florida, what's up? So, but no, I'm learning the system. Like I said, I've got a vlog I'm working on for my first Uber load, and like I said, it was super easy. And if you live in a good area where there's a lot of Uber freight, you can make some money and not even have to call anybody. So, Uber and Convoy are changing the game as far as like, you know, detention and layover and stuff like that. You know, they're embracing technology. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, Uber and Convoy are just brokerages, but they're using technology and they're simplifying the system. That's the difference. And you can still negotiate rates. Once you find your niche, it seems easy. That's with anything, anywhere. That's any low board, any company. I agree, Gear Grabber, and it's been working out. This is the longest trip I've been on in the last couple of weeks, and it's only because I wanted to work through the weekend, and I didn't want to do a 200-mile run and sit somewhere all weekend, right? So I agree, Gear Grabber, and you know, it helps that the rates have come up a little bit, and so the 200 and 300-mile stuff has been working really well. I'm enjoying it. So. Yeah, I'm digging it, Rizzo. I know there are a few people that were like, oh, Steve, he's going back to make phone calls. He's going to make another Landstar deal. Da, 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 da. Nope, I'm doing all right. Look, here's the skinny. Here's the deal. Here's the thing, as you guys hear me say quite often. And I'm sure that Christian Trucker, CPAP Machine, McGee Films can probably attest to this. Your first week, especially after doing a click and go system, at one point you go, what did I do? Right? Always Monday morning quarterbacks, right? And what it is, it's a combination of you're out of your comfort zone. You know, I've booked loads for the same way for 2 years, right? All of a sudden, I'm dealing with a trailer payment, I'm dealing with my own insurance, and everything is on me, right? And a couple of the guys I've talked to that I've mentioned have kind of come to this conclusion as well. That first week, you're like, holy hell, what did I just do, right? But then you take a deep breath, realize that the only thing wrong is that you're out of your comfort zone. You take a deep breath, you book your first load, then you book your second load, then you book your third load. Next thing you know, a week later, you look at your money and you're like, wow, okay. And then another week later, you're looking at the money, you're like, okay, this works. And then, if you're an idiot, you fall down and you break your foot and you're like, oh, okay. But then when you come back, same thing. And it helps that the process of booking and turning in bills and everything, when I first started to now is more streamlined. It's a lot easier. Now I don't need a carrier packet for every broker that I talk to. Now when I'm done with my load, it's one email away from getting a settlement. So Jeff learned to simplify and streamline. And the more of us that are out there working all these different brokers, now we're sharing information. I've shared information emails with like Harold, with drivers that are in my area. I hooked Big Rich up with a brokerage that has been good for light trucking, myself included. And there's been a couple of other offers on the table that I won't mention right now because, not only am I just running loads off the load board, but I'm creating business relationships. I'm doing the things that I tried to do at Landstar as far as getting in good with agents, getting relationships built with these people, except that these people are not losing their freight. These people are willing to pay a little bit. These people are thankful, grateful that I give them check calls, that I send them emails, that I call them when I'm loaded or unloaded. And that's huge. That's a big part of it. That's why it's gotten easier, because I've developed these relationships. Because if I could book a load without having to call for a carrier packet, which, by the way, Jeff is really efficient. I've never waited more than, I think, 10 minutes for a carrier packet. Okay? But when I look at the load board and know I don't have to look at the MC number, I don't have to look to see if they're factorable, and I know the customer, I know the freight, and, that makes it a lot more efficient. The more knowledge you have, the more efficient you can become. And it's like those loads that Harold and Roscoe are doing. Will they do them again? Time will tell. But at least if they decide to do them again, they know what to expect. And once you go into something, know what to expect, that makes it a lot easier. That's why networking is so important. Like, especially if you're a Schneider driver. My friend was talking to me, hey, well, who's the shipper in this place? Who's this? And I was able to say, okay, I know what that is. I know what that is. Okay, there you can go in early. There you can't. That's really a live load. That's not really a drop, that kind of thing. And that makes him more efficient to where he can book accordingly and plan his day accordingly. And it makes the job so much easier and so much better. And so developing relationships, networking with other drivers. We're all networking with each other at Like. And that's only going to help the company grow. It's only going to help me grow. Now, but I'm not taking an easy way out. It's not like I'm only working for one brokerage, whether they got crap rates or not. That's not what's happening. What is happening, though, is that when I need to leave home, I've got 5 brokers. I can just cold call and say, what do you got? And if I don't like the rate, then they know I won't move. It's not like, oh, man, Steve, he's cheap. He'll always move for us. We'll give him all the freight because we know he'll move. No, it's not like that. They're one of the brokerages I've done a couple loads for, and they know that I won't move for less than so much a mile. So but that's part of the relationship. So when they do get something that's above, their lower rates, then they call me and like, hey, we got this load, and I ended up doing it. So that's the important part. Now at Schneider, you're not having to negotiate rates, but you can definitely gain a lot of knowledge and networking and using the tools that are before you. Like, for example, did you guys know that the other day when I did the low board, the 123 low board, I was showing the hot market map. Did you know that Schneider has their own version of that for their own freight? Did you guys know that? Did you know you had those tools? Where Schneider lacks is that they don't educate you enough on how to utilize that low board to its fullest potential. Landstar did. Landstar, they had what they call a cabs class, and that cabs class was a game changer for me. Hey, guess what? Here's all these tools you have, and the only thing you've been using is a screwdriver and some duct tape. Now you've got this whole toolbox. Ta-da! And you're like, you hear this angelic choir, and it really was a game changer for me. Schneider doesn't have anything like that. Schneider, you got to do that through networking and talking to the other drivers and that kind of thing. Being nice to each other. Hey TJ, what's up? Take care, son. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks, TJ. You too. Midwest rates have dropped now in the South to run a few days, and that's that. Okay, Michael, and that's a good point. You have to adapt. You have to go. It's a supply and demand business, so you have to go where the freight, where you're needed. The higher the truckload ratio, the more you can negotiate. If Missouri has only 3 loads for every truck and North Carolina's got 6 loads for every truck, where are you going to get more money? Either way, it's still easy to find a load, but just how much money can you get? And if your company gets known as doing good service, then it's easier to negotiate those higher rates. I agree, Benjamin Duke. I have no idea what you're talking about, Brent. Something about a porta potty. But it's I'm digging it, man. I'm digging it. And I'm glad that, you know, like I said, it took me a minute to get the short game. You know, and here's the other thing. Here's the thing. Are you guys tired of me saying that? Here's the deal. You cannot, this is going to sound weird, but you cannot get trapped into what we call, and this is what I learned at Landstar, what we call chasing the money. Pale Rider. You cannot get into the trap of chasing the money. Here's why. Let's say you do a load from Missouri to Florida. Let's call it Orlando. Okay, it's about 1,200 miles. 1,300. So you're like, oh man, I'd do that load in 2 days, pick it up on a Friday, deliver it on a Monday. Man, I'm gonna make $3,000. No. Carrier gets their cut, right? So after the carrier gets their cut, and you pay for the fuel, and okay, you could still make out pretty good, but here's the problem. Coming out of Orlando, what are you gonna find? You might hit a home run and find something straight out of there, but more likely you're gonna deadhead a little bit, especially if you go someplace like Miami or you know, something like Port St. Lucie, that kind of place. So you lose a half a day on that. So more than likely, unless you find a first come first serve kind of load, you're going to have to book the next day. So now you lose a day. So after the fuel and losing the day and going to a dead end area, you were better off to just do 3 loads that netted the same amount of money, and it kept you within your state. That's what I mean by chasing the money. You know, I had a friend of mine show me, he did a screenshot of the Landstar load board. There's all these loads paying just outrageously good. Here's where they were going: Denver, Colorado; Phoenix, Arizona; Miami, Florida; Minot, North Dakota; Cheyenne, Wyoming. Do you guys see the pattern here? Why are those rates so good? Because they're going to dead-end areas where you're going to take a hit coming out, either by time or by money. So even if you deadhead, like for example, if you go to Denver and you're like, screw all this cheap stuff, because you know you got loads that are like 80 cents a mile coming out of the beer place out of there, right? And they're heavy and they're a pain in the butt. So you say, screw that, I'm not paying to do a load, I want to get paid to do a load. So you deadhead 500 miles to Kansas City, right? They're like, oh, I'm not losing money. Yes, you are, because you're losing almost a day to do that 500 miles. So if you deliver Monday morning, you can't book anything until Tuesday morning. So now you've lost your day rate. So that's chasing the money. So now that $3,000 you made going to Denver, after you pay for fuel and go through the mountains and all that stuff, now, like I said, you're better off to do 3 or 4 short loads that net, that's the important word, net you the same. Very true. I just talked to another driver about that who has been struggling a bit. Don't be afraid to change tactics. Yes, Gear Grabber, that is, I've changed my tactics like 4 times since I've been over here. And you just got to go where supply and demand is. You know, Big Rich called me up, dude, south, man, southeast is where it's at right now. And I noticed that when I was dipping down into Arkansas that the rates were a little bit better than they were in, say, Missouri or Oklahoma. So my shorties that went back and forth between Missouri and Arkansas paid pretty good. Next week, it could be Wisconsin. The week after that, it could be Indiana. The week after that, it could be Texas. And so the important part is you got to have knowledge and familiarity with all the different areas. That's why people that have only been truck driving for, say, 2 or 3 years, I think they're going to have a harder time being an owner-operator because they're not familiar with the different areas. They're not familiar with what the freight lanes are. And that's one of the good things you'll learn at Schneider is you'll learn where the freight is. You'll learn the freight lanes, where to go and where not to go. Because they're the same for any trucking company. They're the same in the spot market. Everybody check out Juan Avalos. He just did his first video. He appreciate a sub and check out his video. Don't get stuck in ruts. Right, Gear Grabber, you're always adapting. I could have taken a load to Denver for $2,300, $343, and refused it. Now, Michael N. Okay, it said very bad connection. The best way to go to an area like that is to have something coming out. That way you can do the law of averages. You know, the law of averages is huge. If you're making $4 a mile one direction and you make $2 the other direction, then your average, as long as it's above where you want to be, then you're good to go. Yukon, how's it going? Christian Trucker's in the house. Right, okay, Michael Lynn, let's take that load. Okay, $2,300. Where's my calculator? Okay. How many miles was that? Michael Lynn? Guess 343. Bear with me a second here, guys. How many miles was that? 670. Okay, 670. We'll just do 670, make it easy. So 670. So how much fuel mileage you get? Let's just call it 6.5, because that's the average, right? 6.5. So 672 divided by 6.5. That's 103 gallons, right? So 103 times 350 a gallon. Oops. Comes out to, that's not right. 106 times 350. 106 times 3.5. Goes out to, so about $400 in fuel. Okay, we'll just round it up. Okay. Now, so out of that, how much was that? 2,300. Okay, so if you take 2,300 times, let's say you get 85% at your carrier. I know that the advanced guys get that, right? So times 0.85. Now you're only getting 1955, right? Minus $400 in fuel. You're going to net $1,500, okay? How many short loads can you do for that $1,500 with very little fuel, very little wear and tear on the truck, and you're not going into a dead-end area, and you can stay consistent in your miles? That's what I'm talking about. Jeff tells me that. Jeff drills that into us, okay? Jeff has preached that since his Snyder days. Is it a little bit more work to do 3 or 4 loads that net the same amount of money? Yeah. But see, that's called chasing the money. That's a quick, easy $1,500. Or is it? So if you get paid after every load, you're like, okay, cool. Tuesday, I'm going to have $1,500. But, you know, now you're taking a whole day to deadhead back to Kansas City or something like that. Or you're taking a $1 mile heavy beer load that you know, that might take you all day to do that. So, and that's putting wear and tear on your truck. Peter Jacobs, what's your average time waiting been loaded and unloaded? I don't think I've had a time over 4 hours. I want to say 3. So average has been probably, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours maybe. But I don't know. It just depends. 1 week it'll be a lot of wait time. It's been no worse than Snyder. I mean, there was a place in Springfield I delivered with Snyder. I was there for 10 hours for a half a trailer. So guess what? When I call the broker and they tell me who the customer is, if it says that place in Springfield, I just won't do it. Or I'll do what Jeff does and I'll ask for a ridiculously high rate. Because if they want to pay me ridiculously high, then hell yeah, I'll sit for 10 hours. But, you know, you got, you know, like there's a guy like Shane from Green Miles. He makes, like for every rate con that he signs, he makes the broker sign his detention rate. Like they have to sign that detention rate. You know, and he does a lot of reefer trailers. So, you know, so that's smart. And if the broker doesn't want to sign it, guess what? He doesn't do the load. So if he knows if he goes in that certain customer in Springfield and they don't want to sign that rate, well, then he knows that there's potential for a lot of bad stuff to go on. My return to OTR has been on hold while I work on getting the blood pressure down and want a 2-year medical card. For the last 10 months, all I've been doing is studying load boards to learn the market areas. Brett, that's a good strategy, but it's going to change. It could be different next month. You know, I found that the market was vastly different from before my injury to after my injury. Now, a little tip on the blood pressure: before you go into your DOT physical, drink a lot of water, and garlic pills work wonders. That's just a little side tip. I don't have a blood pressure problem yet. The only reason why I get a 1-year card now is because of the sleep apnea. If you're on a CPAP machine, you get a 1-year card regardless. His accessorial policy, I had one too. Yukon, I'd be curious to see what yours was. And Yukon, man, that'd be an excellent topic for a video. How often did you come across brokers that refused to sign it? Was that a problem? Like, did it make it harder for you to find loads by saying, hey, by the way, here's what you're going to promise to do if this is a wait? Or is that just like more of a, is that more common in the reefer world to where, you know, it wasn't a strange thing to the brokers? I'd be curious about that. We'll be getting into the end of the month, and it'll be either got to move fast money or it'll drop off. Have CDL with tanker, double, triple, but expired medical. Okay, Brent. Can't keep up my signal weak, keeps buffering. I can't stand short stuff, but it definitely pays better. Jason Random, what's up? Yeah, you can buy garlic pills. They help with your blood pressure. No, my blood pressure is not controlled by anything. Despite my weight, I tend to eat actually fairly good. It ticks my wife off. You know, every time I get a checkup or my blood pressure checks out, I send her the numbers, and she gets upset because she's more physically fit than I am, and her blood pressure is kind of up and down. Except for today. Yeah, Food Moose, there's a lot of natural remedies to get your blood pressure down. A lot of water, garlic pills, and just shine away from the breads and the sweets. You know, that's huge. And sodium. Get away from sodium. You know, when you guys take your socks off at night, if you got a huge indentation in your leg, that means you're retaining a lot of water. That can give you the potential for high blood pressure. Fish oil, that's another good one, yes. Stay away from salt and sugar, yep. Yeah, definitely stay away from caffeine the day of your physical. You know, because we're human, so naturally, when you go to get your physical, you're kind of like, you know, because your career is on the line every single time you go in for a physical, right? So you get kind of a little bit nervous. No salt will lower BP, right? What about snake oil? I don't know. I've never drank snake oil. Cinnamon's good for regulating sugar. Yes, Benjamin. I got a whole bunch of supplements. Yeah, don't use mouthwash. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, look it up. I mean, don't take my word for it. Look it up. You know, you can find an article that make you go, well, Snorler's full of crap. Been doing the keto diet, down 27 pounds in a month and a half. Doing garlic pills and no carbs or sodium. Excellent, Brent. So you're on the right track. Cinnamon's good for keeping ants away from the house. That is true. I believe that, Food Mooch. My wife uses that method. We have an ant problem at our house, man. It sucks. Apple cider and honey. Yep. And you got to get the right kind of apple cider, though. You got to get the kind that's got the mother in it. I know it sounds weird, but you actually, they sell it in the supplement part of Walmart. You'll see the apple cider with the mother stuff in it. 3:30 January 10th, and I'm 263 now. Awesome. Jason, I was 378 several months ago. I'm down to 348, somewhere around there. So we're losing weight. I'll show you guys what I got in my fridge. You guys want to see what I got in my fridge? I got Brussels sprouts. I got carrots. I got lunch meat. I got cheese. I've got 2 hamburgers that I need to eat tonight. There's no bread in this truck at all. The only kind of bad stuff for me I got is I've got these Chef Boyardee things. I got some ramen just in case, you know, absolute emergency. No kettle chips. I can't eat kettle chips. They're hard on the teeth. I'm not perfect, guys, by no means. Harold says, did you stop on 465 and grab that lunch meat? That's still making me laugh, dude. Because Harold goes on to see me, right? I'm like, what the hell's happening up there? And Harold goes, man, the dude's backpack just opened up and there's like his clothing, his jackets, his lunch meat just went everywhere. And I didn't see the lunch meat, I saw the jackets. Just not somebody who's like, oh man, I lost my lunch meat on I-465 because I'm a dumbass. Oh man. I'm sure somebody ran over that lunch meat. Was it bologna or ham or what was it? I live off Doritos and Mountain Dew. If I had to eat some Doritos, it would be those wasabi flavored. Those are good. Now, guys, if you follow Kevin and Ollie, he talks about having Mountain Dew mouth. He drank a lot of Mountain Dew and it rotted his teeth. He talks about that. Next week, I start my 5-week at CDL school. I'm taking it at my community college at night. It's 12 weeks, 4 hours, 5 nights a week. Good deal, Peter. Community college is the way to go on CDL schools. Because then you can pick and choose where you want to go. Versus, like if you take Prime CDL school, then you got to work for Prime or they make you pay it back. You just saw the Tupperware meat box sliding across the pavement. What? Maybe that was some weed or something. Maybe it wasn't lunch meat there, Harold. That was funny. There was a batch of groceries, man, because I saw a grocery bag and just stuff flying everywhere. I had been 120 over 60 average with 60 pulse almost the entire adult life, then had an injury and was virtually bedridden for a year, and BP was dangerously high afterwards. Yeah, it's a struggle, Brent. I hear you. The acid the soda company used reacts with calcium so your teeth and bones degrade. And that's what causes kidney stones. If there's ever a motivation to not drink soda, it is the pain of kidney stones. Right? Right, Christian Trucker? Now, Big Rich and I had a really good discussion about the keto diet. Right? Keto diet, I would love to be on, okay? It's a little bit of challenge while I'm at home. It's a little bit of challenge when I run out of groceries and I got stuff like this in the truck, because this is not keto, right? And a chiropractor is a good thing. There was a time, I think what happened with me is I was dropping hook in a trailer. It was at Landstar, and there was a trailer that was dropped too high, and I tried to, compensate for it, and I injured myself, but didn't realize it. At one point, I couldn't play guitar because my left hand was like it could barely move, and I went and started seeing a chiropractor, and after like about 10 treatments, I could play again. I'm still not 100%. I hit a nerve or something. But I don't play fast anymore, so it's not like it's a huge deal. But you never know, man. I remember one time I slipped, almost fell, but didn't quite fall, and my back was messed up for a week. What hurts more, childbirthing, kidney stones, hitting the nuts? Women only want what more kids. Think about that. I know what you're saying. Yeah, rice. Now, can you do grain rice, or is it all rice that you can't do on keto? I love rice. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. And rice is so easy. Lemon juice helps prevent kidney stones. That's good to know, Gear Grabber. I used to have lemon in my tea all the time. Maybe I need to start doing that again. No grains. Okay. Now, is oatmeal considered a grain? I'm kind of dumb on some of this stuff. Lemon juice from fresh lemons. Yeah. Guys, when I was doing the juicing diet, oh man, that felt so good. I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. It's just way too much work to do in the truck. Way too much work. But a friend of mine did that, and we lost weight. And it felt great. All the other side effects, the positive side effects, was amazing. It's just, it's really hard to do and expensive to do in the truck. Synthetic lemons will cause stone, gall, and kidney. Oh, wow. I use lemon juice when I'm drinking my apple cider vinegar. Huh. So we've covered the spot market, rates, networking, and now we're on diet. Anything else you guys want to talk about? Gallbladder stone? Yeah. I think, have you guys noticed that there's a lot of these dialysis clinics popping up, like in strip malls? Think about that. I used to be a line cook at a nursing home, and every now and then we'd have to set the dining room up and and interact with the patients. Man, working in a nursing home will depress you. I believe it, Food Mooch. Guys, when I was in my 20s, man, I could down some Mountain Dew. I loved Mountain Dew. A friend of my sister's actually, bought me a case of Mountain Dew. And I went through that in a week, right? By the end of that week, I had gained like 10 pounds. And I put a dent in my car over something stupid because I was just so raged up because of all that caffeine, sugar, right? That's when I knew I'd slow down on the soda. And my oldest daughter, she loves her Diet Dr. Pepper, or her Dr. Pepper, not Diet, but Dr. Pepper. And she's already had kidney stones, and she's only like 23. So that, I don't know, man. Soda, dude. Okay, this is when I stopped drinking soda. Okay, really? Okay, here we go. When I was a company driver, we would pick up chemicals from a place there in Edwardsville, Illinois. And it was chemicals to make Diet Dr. Pepper and Sprite. They were hazmat. You had to have not one, but 2 placards, flammable and corrosive, on these loads. And you walk in to get your bills, you walk in to get loaded, right? And the place smells like Raid, like they just fumigated the place. That is what people are drinking. Gear Grabber said, Monster drinks killed a friend of mine movie. True story. I also know someone that didn't die, but got pretty close to it because of Monster drinks. And you guys know that little video? Well, no, I won't say that. I won't say that. I stopped drinking soda and lost 15 pounds in the last month. I don't miss the sugar high. Guys, sugar is an addiction, man. It's hard to get off of it. That's the first thing you're going to notice if you go keto or paleo, is that you get sugar cravings. Whether you're a soda drinker or you ate a lot of donuts or not, you know, there's, the way it's explained is there's a little bit of sugar in everything. A little bit of sugar in everything. So you're getting these small amounts that kind of keeps that insulin up, which keeps that addiction up, which keeps those levels up. See where I'm getting at? That's by design. And that's the hardest thing, because I like everything in my cabinet here, the canned foods, it's probably got sugar in it, you know. And the high fructose corn syrup, that's even worse, because that's like what cocaine is to the cocoa plant. It's highly processed, straight to the point stuff that you're getting like a concentration of. I agree, Benjamin. And Monster drinks are the worst. You know, those little 5-hour energy shot drinks, look at the ingredients, man. All that is vitamins and caffeine. That's it. And let's say that you don't want to give up caffeine. Guess what? You can drink green tea. It's got just enough caffeine that where you don't have the withdrawal symptoms, but it doesn't give you these caffeine spikes like coffee will. Now, I'm still a coffee drinker, but when I kind of get burned out on coffee every now and then, I've got green tea. In fact, I've got a box around here somewhere in here. I don't know where it went. But I love green tea. You know, in the wintertime, especially if I want a hot drink, but I don't want to drink coffee, green tea is where it's at. And I'm not talking about that Lipton, like, sugar stuff, or that what's that, Arizona stuff. Snarl, could you give your opinion on buying a truck versus leasing? Like, would it be better to buy a $60,000 truck versus a lease? Jason, I can't really answer that, because I bought a $60,000 truck because I could not get the full maintenance lease. Okay, because I didn't. Yeah, I had to have 3 years of being an owner operator, and I didn't have that at that time. But I had to do something. It depends on what you're looking for, what your needs are, what you need at home, and how much money you got in reserve, or a credit line you got in reserve. Because $60,000 truck's more likely to break down and cost you money than, say, a lease truck that might still be under warranty. So the trick is to buy a used truck if you can't afford the high payment that's still under warranty, that gives you enough time to build the money. However, the only way I would lease a truck is if at the end of the lease I still have warranty or a full maintenance lease. In other words, I got a friend over at Schneider, got a Schneider finance truck. He's got a killer warranty for the entire 3 years he's going to have that truck. So anything major that goes down, he shouldn't come out of his pocket. UConn says it was we're back to the question about the rate con. It was a problem more often than not. They would refuse to sign it first. Once they can get anybody else to haul the load, they sign, or can't get anybody else. Yeah, see, in UConn, I would imagine that there's a lot of brokers that once they see that accessorial policy, then they knew that they were dealing with someone that knew what they were doing. And some of the brokers want to deal with people that don't know what they're doing, that don't know any better, that like, oh, well, yeah, you don't get paid until 4 hours of detention, that kind of thing. So I imagine that accessorial policy would chase off the bottom feeders and make it a little bit harder to book a load. But once you booked a load, you were set, because the broker knew what they were doing and they appreciated the high quality of your service. So that's a good deal. Now, what did Brent say? He retracted his message. Now, a full maintenance lease where you don't have to worry about any repairs, I think would be ideal, but it's not easy to get, and it's not easy to find. So the trick is to have a truck that the payment's so low that it's easy to stack up that money when it's going good, or you get a lease that allows you to utilize a warranty, and as long as the cost is not like through the roof and it's manageable, you can go either way. So I'm not an expert at that, because I've only bought 2 trucks. I'm on my second truck. They're both $60 a piece. So Alex just left Planet Express in Amarillo. I'm gonna get me a W9 and paint my trailer in a certain desert mural scene. You gotta get one of them icons, Harold. They have a Smoking the Bandit icon, I think. I retracted it. Just see my medical history comments weren't saved here for return. Oh, okay. It's a negotiable contract. You'll make the changes. You make changes for you. You don't have to take the load. It's a bluff in some cases. If the broker can put in there no detention for this load, why can you not change it? I think that's where experience comes in. Most brokers have a 2 to 4 hour policy. In other words, after 2 hours, then the rate con says, let's talk. After 4 hours, it has to be approved and all that. And that's where documentation comes in. That's where, you gotta make sure everybody puts the times on it. And even then, it's still up in the air. Adamant problem. Michael Dow, what's up, brother? Just had a great week revenue-wise. You? It's been okay. I haven't ran all the numbers yet, but I started late. I started on Tuesday, and I lost Thursday because I delivered Thursday morning, but I didn't pick up till Friday. So, but I'm doing all right. Tomorrow I got a lot of free time, so I'll be running my numbers and probably entering the stuff in the computer and everything else. So I really don't like to give my numbers out, because my numbers are different from everybody else's numbers. Well, not everybody else's, but my numbers are different than somebody else's numbers. I hear the Missouri Valley is a hotbed right now. Kansas City, St. Louis is always good, in my opinion. But here lately, the southeast side of Missouri has been pretty good. Arkansas has been pretty good. And getting into Oklahoma can be pretty good. So the Oklahoma stuff, you got to make it short, though. I believe the 2 loads that Howard and Roscoe got that are paying extremely well were out of Oklahoma. But again, what they're doing is seasonal. So 2 weeks from now, they won't be able to do those. Hey, we're at an hour, guys. I usually try to keep these at an hour. But we'll keep going if you want. We'll be like Roscoe. Eventually I need to eat dinner. I know eating at 10:30 at night is probably not a good idea, but I am hungry. So we'll end this live feed. Guys, thanks for watching. This has been a good one, I guess. Look, let me make this very clear. I am not an expert. I am not a master of anything. Any knowledge that I have has been either taught to me or I learned the hard way. There are a lot of good tools and resources out there, including other drivers. Facebook has some pages that you can follow for rates, but you have to know how to filter. Just like the Schneider Owner Operators page, you have to know how to filter what's a bunch of crap, what's a bunch of whiners, and what's legitimate good information. That's how Facebook is in general. That's how all social media is, YouTube included. All we're doing here is, it's like we're at the truck stop counter, having a cup of coffee, and this guy's telling me how he runs his business, and I'm telling him how I run mine. And then he tells me things that, oh wow, that's a good idea, and then I might do the same. That's how you learn. It's through struggling that we all learn. So, I'm not an expert. There are people that watch my video that are probably yelling, you don't know what the hell you're talking about, Steve. So that's why I use phrases like, instead of you should, I use in my opinion, because that's all this is. This is just my opinion. Subject to change at all times, just like the industry that we're in. It's subject to change. Nobody owes you anything. Like I said, you can gather all the information you want on YouTube and Facebook, but until you fall down and hurt yourself, in a symbolic sense, not literally, like some people, until you make the mistakes yourself, you'll never learn. So adapt and overcome. You have to have an open mind, but you have to have a certain amount of perseverance. Michael Dow, I've been staying on the 35 DFW to San Antonio area, Temple and Austin, low miles, big bucks right now. I bet, Michael. I forgot, dude, for Schneider drivers, Texas, working inside Texas is huge. I would like to see Like Trucking get Texas Intrastate, because the guy can make some money in that state. Texas to Texas. But I'm afraid the red tape may not be worth it to Jeff, which I wouldn't blame him. But Schneider's got that. So if you're at Schneider, and, you know, I was in Texas all the time at Schneider. You can make some money. For the people that whine about bad rates, you have to be willing to do the weird stuff to jack up your rates. Oh, we can run Texas. Yukon, a lot of states, I don't know if Texas requires it or not, but a lot of states you have to have a certain permit to run intra-state. And if you don't have that authority, then you can't do it. So if you're working for a company that doesn't have that permit and you're doing those kind of loads, there's a potential for problems there. And right now we have intrastate in certain states. Not all states require that, but in Texas I have no idea. But most of the Texas stuff I've been doing, either it's because I go into Oklahoma and I use Dallas to get out, or vice versa. So I don't have to worry about it. But if a guy wanted to go from Dallas to Houston, I think you need, I could be wrong though. About 20 states require it. Even New York doesn't have that garbage. Yeah, but New York, you got to have that permit, that HUD sticker, which, a couple of us have. Yes, Michael Dow says you need it for Texas. And so does Benjamin Duke. So I can run freight in and out of Texas. I just can't do in and out. Well, that doesn't make sense. Let me rephrase that. I can take a load into Texas, take a load out of Texas, but I can't deliver inside. Like, I can't do Dallas to Houston, Houston to Austin, Austin to Amarillo. I can't do that. But I can do, like, Missouri to Dallas and Dallas to Missouri. I can do that. You live 15 minutes from Dallas, OC, so you're styling, man. You're styling, Michael Dow. I'm surprised we never crossed paths, because I was in and out of Dallas all the time. That was one of the perks of Snyder, was that there was always the same place to park at Dallas. So if you had a delivery inside Dallas the next morning, it wasn't a big deal. Hello, fellow Kirk. So, with that being said, guys, take it easy. Again, this is not information. This is just my opinions. And that's it. So, I know when I was at Snyder, I always tried to catch up with you. Yeah, sometimes I'm hard to catch up to. I've done full 34s at that OC, though. I used to do a lot of this stuff out of Dallas. This exact brand. Better than the other brand that's out there. You're ready for your next vlog? Well, I might have to work on that tomorrow, Harold. But you always went home. There you go. That's all on you then. Guys, thanks for watching. This has been a good weekend live. And you know what? Take care of each other, man, because no one else will. So, 3:45. It is an excellent time to make sure that I'm not going anywhere. No, I can't do 4. There was one day where I did 4 lives in one day, Cousin It, and it was when I was at 10 hours at that customer. And I don't know, Roscoe has got a set of lungs on him. For a smoker, he can talk, man. He can talk. And for those of you who have never talked to Roscoe on the phone, he does, it's the same thing. And he's got a lot to say, doesn't he? That's what's hot right now. Niagara Waters and Premium Waters. Man, I stay away from Niagara in Dallas. I'll do Nestle, but not Niagara. There's a certain brokerage that has nothing but the Niagara, and I won't touch it. I need a truck cooking class. I need to get back into, like, I've just been using the microwave. I buy the steamable vegetables and meat, and I just nuke it. But I need to get back to using the lunchbox cooker. Because those videos did well for me. I'd like to talk to you and tell you the story about my truck and how the insurance company is, your truck wreck, and how the insurance companies treat us owner operators. David Riverman, you can tell the whole world that story. All you got to do is make a video, and I can help get it out there. Now, if you want to talk to me personally, that's a little bit hard to do now. I don't give my number out anymore. Alex says they're a little bit better now. They got another warehouse. Pot pie. No. I ate too many pot pies as a kid. I'm about to give my pillow some head and my sheets. Oh man, Harold. Can't believe you worded it like that. Alright guys, on that note, talk to you later. See ya. I'm going to eat some dinner and go to bed myself. I got a long day of sitting tomorrow, so. But that's okay. I deliver tomorrow night, and then I got to find a place to park. Then I'll be ready to go Monday morning. So, you guys see you later. Thanks for watching. Be safe. Be good to each other. And find me on Facebook if you care. I will. Later.